what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a very somber episode of Lineage Break, a Grand Archive TCG podcast. I am your idiot Cam. With me, as always, is your liar Steve.
They actually call me Untrusty Steve.
Untrusty Steve. Untrusted.
Lumbering Steve, if you will.
Lumbering Steve. Hi, Lumbering Steve. How are you?
Sometimes you just make a fool of yourself on the internet.
It's we're here to announce that we're retiring from the podcast. We wanted to do this last episode to apologize for all of our wrongdoings.
Yeah. We flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
And we've hurt the community to a degree that's unacceptable.
Yep.
And we're sorry.
And there's nothing that we can do to fix it except, try to atone for our sins,
move on
and move forward. Yeah. So welcome to the show. Turns out we were hideously wrong. That our copium that we spent several weeks online and offline telling people about, just like so far from right that it's insane. We were watching the show last night, and we were on the show. That I'm not even apologizing for. The fuck you, chat. Whatever, like the trivia. I feel like we got seriously debated. I feel like there was some.
All of those questions, all the answers are all pretty much the same word.
Yeah, I'm not taking any responsibility for that. I'm gonna blame exactly Main Deck Dan. Taylor did a great job, but that Dan guy ran it down.
Led us astray every time.
Absolutely ridiculous. There's no way she would have an axe. There's so many axe characters. Yeah. No, I understand.
No, he said there's not any axe character. They're all in water.
Yeah. Anyways, we were very wrong about our MRC Alter predictions.
Yeah.
And when they showed Accursed Strength, the Diana card that has the new Diana art on it, on stream, I exclaimed out loud. I was like, "Oh no!
Oh no!"
Because that's what we knew, that we were cooked. And we were just hideously wrong. So we do apologize. Nobody's more upset than us, I promise. I had put all of my hopes and prayers on getting an Ari that I don't deserve, and now I won't. Yeah. I gotta say that the development team, cowards, refused to answer my question on the air.
Oh yeah.
I sent. It was long-winded and stupid, so of course I didn't answer it on air. But I'm like kind of bummed, dude. This is the end of Azoth block, right? Like we're done.
Right.
We've got ALC Alter, we got MRC Alter, Azoth block done, dusted. This is all the cards that we're getting for that block. And I'm not like these other, simps, Diana players eating good. I don't know. Aside from Judge promos, is this the last time I see Ari for maybe ever?
No. Well, surely you'll get Ari again.
Feels pretty bad. I don't know. I don't know that. That's not a sure thing, man. So,
I think so. Her and Diana are best friends. Come on, man.
I'm pretty down in the dumps. Looks like another Oshi of mine has graduated. So, But yeah, so today we're going to talk about some MRC Alter. We're going to talk about some Supporter Pack 3 as well. Of course, we're now overwhelmed with the amount of news to talk about from the anniversary stream. So thank you for feeding us well, weebs.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about spoilers. We're going to talk about SP3, but we're going to save all the Worlds announcements for next week's show, where we can talk about those, and we'll talk about the new Path of Silver as well, which I think is pretty exciting. So, but before we get into that, there was also some stuff last weekend that is what we were planning to talk about before the anniversary stream was even announced.
Couple small events.
Yeah, the biggest weekend of Grand Archive history.
Yep.
Until Akihabara. Ascend KL was, I believe, 420 something players. Absolutely massive. The smashed our record, which I think was Santa Clara at 313.
Yeah.
So absolutely massive. And congratulations to Hachiko for winning. I believe one of very few Japanese players, at least in the day 2 space.
Right.
And they won the tournament, which is awesome, especially with Ascent Aki coming up. And that community really burgeoning. It's awesome to see Japanese player take it down. So congratulations to them. We also had European Nationals.
An event of all time.
It was an event of all time. Understandably, 437 at KL, says Mr. Developer Man. And Mr. Developer Man can also tell us how many players there were at European Nationals. A little bit of the lighter turnout.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's like the same weekend as a very large Ascent, and also Europe did not get nearly as many invites as the other portions of the world did. So it was a bit of a smaller tournament. But
I would... I'd be remiss if I had to play in that event.
Yeah, it was just not good. It was a bit tough. Yeah, day 2 Kuala Lumpur was bigger than European Nationals, which is crazy. We're not trying to make fun. That's not what this is about.
No.
Of course, everything's about growth, right? Europe will be much bigger next year, and you have to start somewhere, right?
Right.
Especially when the game is like so spread like this, like. We can't even make any sort of ancillaries, right? We can't be like, oh, well, Ascent Houston was X number of people, because a lot of those people, were traveling from across the world, right? So it's a little bit harder when you like have these more localized tournaments to have these huge turnouts, but you have to start somewhere, because if you don't start, you never get that ball rolling. And I would be shocked if Europe wasn't double, triple, quadruple the size that it was this year, next year. But of course, congratulations to the GOAT. Hanky the Goat for taking down the tournament.
Congratulations.
I think many people's prediction for winning that tournament was Hanky, and so he did Europe proud and took it home.
Also, shout out to True Champion Isaac and True Champion Caven. You guys did great. Some top 8 gamers.
Congratulations to Isaac. I'm so sorry, Terry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I sent him my condolences when he posted it. Feels so bad. Feels so bad to bubble out of that one, but he's got OC in the bag. That's our boy. But yeah. So with that aside, the only other thing that we really got that weekend, there was of course a presentation at KL, but the big shock from the KL presentation was, hey, there's an anniversary stream this week, which is obviously what most of our show is going to be talking about. But also, we did get a little bit of a tease from KL that was not featured in the anniversary stream, and that was for DTR in the form of CL and Diana's level 3 arts, Diana Moonpiercer, CL Mirage's Grave. We don't get the text, but we do have the art.
Boy. That CSR, CL's CSR is going to go insane.
Yeah.
That art is so beautiful without any shiny embellishments, and I can't wait to own it.
Yeah, the like purple smoke and stuff is going to look really cool. I really like how Umbra foils look in general, so I think it's going to look super sweet.
I'm so stoked for it.
So, Steve's stoked. I don't care about Diana. She's cute, I guess.
Until it's like level 3 Ranger Astra Cleric.
Yeah.
And then Gam cares.
Listen, I'll tell you what, Steven. I'm never making a prediction ever again. I'm retired. I'm retired from making predictions. I'll make predictions that are on other people's accounts, so I can't it's like Weebs has done nothing but good this week, and somehow I've crushed my own spirit by getting too convinced by myself. Right? It's the most ridiculously stupid thing.
You're definitely the meme of the guy riding the bike and he sticks the stick in his own spokes.
Right. Yeah, it's nothing but good news and lots of exciting cards to talk about, and here I am where's my RE support or whatever. It's you don't need that, stupid. Yeah, I don't know. So we're done. We're done. Your Dianacopium's intense. Thank you. Yeah, we're done making predictions. I'm done making cleric-based predictions. How about that? I will predict everything for the rest of you, but I can't do it to myself anymore. It's just not healthy. Speaking of cleric predictions, we have some spoilers to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
MRC Alter right around the corner, and
we got
thankfully, unlike last time, they gave us all the cards. We don't have to wait for the index update. We have all the cards. We can talk about them, and they're about 4 weeks out, so you guys can start brewing. These will be, of course, legal for Ascent Worlds. And that's a pretty big deal. It'll be a new format. These cards will be legal, and so maybe some of them will shake up the format. Maybe retired old Limelight will come out of retirement and play Diana. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Of course, he's got to get a world slot, and he can't do that because he's washed up. But like, in theory, he could come back and play Diana. Introduced himself as the Diana player at Worlds yesterday. Has been. Anyways.
Jeez. Leave that man alone.
It's no fun if Jason doesn't watch the show anymore.
And he doesn't.
Yeah. Anyways.
We're just bullying him.
I'm not mad. You're mad.
I think the first thing we need to talk about is the slime in the room.
The slime in the room.
We got the updated baby gray slime.
Yeah.
It is now called a baby silver slime.
What a cute little baby.
It's a 2-cost norm ally tamer animal slime.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you control a slime ally, baby silver slime has taunt. On death, you may reveal a slime card from your hand or memory. If you do, draw a card. It's a 1/1. Not as strong as baby gray.
Yeah, what a balanced card. This card,
But,
I don't know, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But in like a good way. Like I think it is that same sort of glue piece that Sylvie needs, right? Like it's like an early game play that does generate you some advantage. Taunt is better than intercept, so it's like a little bit better in that regard. It does protect your larger advanced element slimes in the late game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this card is awful. It's like very obviously worse than the broken one that they banned. But I don't know, it feels like a pretty suitable replacement to me. I don't think this is going to put Sylvie back on the map, which is good. She's had her time. I'm okay if Slime Sylvie is not a tier 1 deck. But I think it will probably put her back into the, like, it's a deck you can play and people won't laugh at you.
Right.
Because she did really need that, like, glue piece in the early game, and the format's much faster than it was when she was around. So, yeah, I think it's good.
I also
we're not
think
slimes enjoyers. But.
Yeah, definitely not. But I definitely think this adds to more of the the fire slime deck that was like around over like the rainbow slime deck.
Yeah, it's pretty good with cremate, which is cool. So yeah, I think it's definitely all right. We're not gonna talk about all of the spoilers today. There's a lot of like uncommons and rares and stuff that of course you guys can check out. They're all live up on the places. I believe Mr. Proxy's Codex has put them on the website, ? No. He's working on it. You can find them on Merlin's as well.
Speaking of commons, uncommons, and rares, though, there is a new card type that I would like to talk about.
Sure.
We now have something called a command, which is an attack. That currently it is an automaton command. What this means is that it is an attack card that you can use an automaton to attack with instead of your champion, which I think is very interesting space. And I'm hoping that in future set designs that we see more commands like this.
Yeah, it's got they're both warrior cards that they showed us, and it's got that that same like warrior flavor that like Galahad has and Sunsea has, right? Being able to attack with your allies.
Yeah.
And this is a cool way to do it as well. Both of these they're like a little bit odd, where you really do kind of want an ally with keywords to pick these up. Is like sort of the upside, right? Of it not being an attack card but being a command card. And neither of these super benefit from that, but I think like you said, it's like a design space that they're going to explore going forward. We'll see if this is just a robot thing. I mean, it does fit that flavor, right? The sort of commanding automatons makes sense, but we'll see if we can find this a home elsewhere. Maybe we come back to automatons at some point. It doesn't feel exactly like a DTR sort of flavor, but yeah, definitely cool. Cool to see new card types. Other notable cards to talk about before we get to the SRs. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about 10 the Land, which was revealed at Ascent Kuala Lumpur, but also, of course, revealed at the anniversary stream last night. And it's basically the only Ari card that we have to talk about, which is a 3-cost cleric skill slow class bonus fast activation gather then draw card norm card, which is really good, and sort of there's been a lot of time in these RE decks where you have like pretty weak early game stuff. You're like really carried by cards like 3 Visits because you don't have a whole lot to do in the early game. There are also matchups where the extra gather is super important, so you're reliant on ingredient pouch or beseeching your ingredient pouch to get that extra herb for your Polaris. And this does sort of alleviate a lot of those issues. I think the other cleric card that we'll talk about at some point does as well, but this one is like way more ubiquitous. I would be surprised if this card wasn't played as a playset in almost every RE deck. So that's cool. She's hot. My lord, look at those things. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think we should talk about this counterspell. There is a new 2-drop counterspell. It is a water action cleric spell reaction. Negate target activation if there was if it was activated from your material deck. It's fast activation. So this is stopping things like cheating out your Polaris or cheating out your daggers for Tristan or Xander.
This card is called Regal Expulsion.
Yeah, Regal Expulsion. Yeah, sorry.
Stumbled over that one a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a negate for cards that you activate out of your material deck. So Polaris Guy's Blessing, Tome of Sacred Lightning is the example that Solar used, which I found quite funny.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rye players, you're still out there, I'm sure. Yeah, it's got Naya on it, which why do they keep doing this?
That,
They keep putting Naya on these cleric cards. She's not a cleric, bro. Get over it. Yeah, this card's okay. I'm not exactly seeing the current application. That doesn't mean that this card is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like not currently seeing what this is supposed to be for. Like maybe 6 months ago, this would be great against Guy's Blessing.
Guy's Blessing or
it's like,
Scepter of Lumina.
Yeah, like things that are hard for you to remove. Definitely worth noting. Everybody, when they saw this card, even when we were in the chat waiting for our appearance on the stream, were like, "Oh, it's so good against Polaris." And it's like, I'm not activating a Polaris into your water deck with open mana, anyways, because I assume you have a Fracture Edge, right? So like, I'm getting that shit in my Materialize step every time. So right now, I'm not sure exactly what people will be playing this for, but it's a nice thing to have in like the repertoire in case any of these like activation decks become a problem. Right. Guy's Blessing, Vanitas mentioned in the chat as well, stuff like that. But yeah, definitely an interesting card.
I think that brings us to our first, the first Umbra card that we're going to talk about today.
You don't even want to talk about your glorious Throne Sentinels? You were so excited.
Yeah, I know she's cute, but she,
You're so excited to talk about your hottie and how good she is.
Yeah, so
she's gonna skip right over. What would she think, Steven?
She would be disappointed in me. So Throne Sentinel, 2-cost Neos Ally Guardian Automaton, Hindered Taunt. On enter, token allies you control get +1 until the end of the turn. If you control 3 or more tokens, wake up Throne Sentinel. 2 reserve cost, rest. Your champion gains Spell Shroud until the end of the turn. It's an 0/4. This card is very, very good.
Yeah, I do think it's good. Poro, how do you feel about Throne Sentinel? It's like very deliberate, this card, which I find interesting. That, like, I don't think that necessarily a lot of the things that this card does are like thematic to be together, if that makes sense. It's like very clear that this card was printed to make up for some of the pitfalls that Tony falls into. Yeah. He's like pretty weak into spells decks. And you're like, okay, I gave you this idiot with Spell Shroud. Yeah. He like has a hard time finishing the game. It's like, okay, I gave you this Anthem. He has a hard time protecting his allies from attacks that matter, stuff like Cordelia and Atmos Ares. I guess a little bit less so because you have the shields. But it's like, oh, hey, I have Taunt.
Yeah, it kind of does everything you want in late game.
Yeah.
Which is great. Because like I said before the show...
It's a 2 cost.
Yeah, it's 2 cost. Like I said before the show, I've been playing Tony for the last 2 weeks or so, trying to make it work. And then when we saw this last weekend, I was like, oh wow, this card fits exactly into the spot in my deck that I need, which is leveling up to 3, and then having nothing to do on that turn. But now I have, level up to 3, play this, pass,
Right.
and now I have something that I'm not just gonna die.
Yeah. I think it's really good, and that's good. I think Tony did need a little bit of help, and so it's it's good to see him get that. I know we want to talk about the SRs, but I feel like I am mandated.
We have to talk about this card.
Well, yeah, we'll get there. We'll talk about all the SRs.
Oh, you're gonna talk about that one too.
But I think I'm mandated to talk about.
This is a rare, dude.
Is that a rare?
This is a rare.
Anyways, to talk about the one Astra card that is coming out in MRC Alter, and what a card it is. We have Moon Veil Android, which is 2-cost Astra, Assassin Cleric Automaton, which is interesting because it's class bonus twice. Class bonus, whenever you glimpse, Moon Veil Android gains stealth until end of turn. Class bonus, whenever you negate a card activation on opponent controls, put 2 buff counters on Moon Veil Android. It is a 1/3.
Whoa.
So cool. So it's a really
cool.
like unique card.
Yeah.
I think it's super interesting that it has assassin class bonus, which if we use history might mean that there is an assassin Astra somewhere in the books. But this is mostly meant, I think, to be Lucent Arbiter support, which is Ari's other level 3. If you guys knew that she had one. Which has been like pretty historically bad. Unfortunately, this card is like super cool. Probably doesn't make Lucent Arbiter good, but it does at least give you like more of a build around. You have Moonveil Android and you have the Constellary Spire. You have 2 cards that care about you playing Lucent Arbiter.
Right.
So you can try it. I'll probably try it. Everyone that I play against will be miserable, but it's the art for me, dude. It's so sick.
This art is beautiful.
Super cool. She's got her Edgelord Katana.
When they revealed this,
It goes crazy.
this was the first time I ever went, wow, I wish I was playing Astra.
Yeah, it's super cool. So I want to play it because it's cool, but I don't know if it's good, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's sweet.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. I promise. Am I done? I'm not done. We have one more, and then I'm done. I promise. We also have to talk about the Geldis card.
Yeah, we do have. Yeah, it's very funny.
Our spoiler card that we got to reveal on the show is Decompose. This is a 2-cost fast action cleric skill. As an additional cost to activate this card, sacrifice an ally, gather X times, where X is the sacrificed ally's life stat. I think this is a interesting card. How do you feel about this card, Steven? I know how I feel about it.
I love this card.
Flavor.
Asterisk. Flavor.
Good.
Because on it we have Geldis rotting.
Poor Geldis.
And
he got shred to
and
ribbons.
clearly it is the intended use is to sacrifice your Geldis, make 8 herbs.
Gather 8 time goes crazy.
But I think maybe there's a spot for this card in like the slash and burn Fire Bloom Tender deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because that deck wants to gather a lot.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know what you would be sacrificing for it. But I think there's definitely something to explore there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's particularly strong for like a regular Ari deck.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. I think a lot of the support, and there was like a fire cleric ally that we didn't talk about. A lot of the support in Alter seems to be for a like lower to the ground fire cleric deck. We'll talk about one hot lady in that regard later. And I agree. I think this is exactly what that's for. This is just another copy of Slash and Burn. It works like really favorably with cards like Fanatical Devotee, which they were playing anyways.
Yep.
You like play your Fanatical Devotee who has an on-death trigger. You attack with her. You sacrifice her to decompose. You gather 3 times, 4 times, something. I don't remember. And yeah, it's pretty good. I think it fits right into that Slash and Burn deck. I think that there is maybe potential for this to be like a Giga Meme card, and that's probably how I'm going to play it, by sacrificing cards like Geldis, and just using 40 herbs to do meme shit. But
just like I sacrifice a Gale to make 8 herbs.
Yeah.
I have 3 Horta counters in my hand.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to play a Foretold Bloom. However, I don't think this one's like slotting into normal RE decks. I think it is a little bit more of a niche application, but it's cool. It's super cool. I like more rituals. They're sweet. All right. Where is that card? I missed it.
Chat did point out something. You can play this in Tony.
True.
And sacrifice a Geldis and make a ton of swords.
Yeah, we as soon as we saw it yesterday, we were like, dude, you sacrifice your Neos Elemental and it's like a 10/10 and you make 30 power worth of swords and then you kill them. I was like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what people are doing with it. It's a pretty neat card. We have one more rare to talk about, which is crazy. That card's a rare. I very much assumed it was
you
a
kept
super.
on like, you were like, we'll get to the super rare. I'm like, dude, no.
We'll get to it. We'll get to that super rare.
It's not a super rare.
So we have a rare. It's called Ancestral Recall.
Yeah, it's called a Curse Strength. This is a 2-cost Umbra action ranger skill or spell. Diana bonus. It costs 1 less. Draw 3 cards. Draw 3 plus X cards.
Yeah.
Where X is the amount of curse cards in your champion's lineage minus your influence.
That's a mouthful. Does it count as transformational content if we just like put up the clip of Shinja trying to understand what this card does? Does that count? Can I get away with that? Just put it up and he's like, it draws 3. No,
it always draws 3.
4.
So this card will draw you 1 card if you just cast it and you have no other cards in your hand.
If you have no other cards in your hand and you play this,
correct,
it draws 2 cards.
Draws 1, right?
Because you'll have 1 influence that you had.
Yeah. I did this last night.
It draws 2 cards. It is basically pot agreed if you have no cards in hand, or if you have this and the card to pay for it, which is good. That's like I was talking with our resident Diana Doomer about it last night. That is the best right in the game. That's Sword of Avarice numbers. That's like play my Spirit Blade Ascension, get my Sword of Avarice, draw 2 cards, 2 influence, draw 2 cards. Is very good. That does require your hand to be literally empty except for this and another card, obviously. Yeah. Not the hardest thing for Diana to do.
It's also fast speed, so the turn after you level up, you can play it.
Yeah, I think that this is a super interesting card, where I think the floor is pretty high. You just play it as when my hand is basically empty, it's a 1 cost, draw 2. Strong, for sure. We love pot agreed. But the like hoops that you can go through, I think there is a sweet spot where like if you put too many curses in your deck and you start like doing curse breaker stuff, I think there's diminishing returns because most of the curses are bad cards. But I think there is a sweet spot in there somewhere where you turn this into like a draw 4 or draw 5 or something, which makes it sort of crazy.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see what our Diana players cook up. I've been doing some mild cooking myself just because I like building decks, but I think it's really cool.
There's like, essentially I think this card is always going to be a draw 3.
Maybe
if you are playing not Curse Breaker.
Yeah, it's tough
because you speed to a Dusk Stalker.
Yeah.
And 2 cards in hand or whatever. Cast this, release. Your Diana level 1.
Yeah.
Get your Shadow's Twin. Draw 3 cards.
Yeah, that is true and also untrue, which is unfortunate. That is true, but that does mean that you didn't play a Dungeon Guide, and that means that you're probably pretty far behind if you're a Duststalker deck and you didn't play a Dungeon Guide, because you would have to like hard level to 3 and then play this, right?
Why?
Because if you play Dungeon Guide, you have 1 card in your memory. And then you have to pay 1 to cast this.
Fair.
So you have to like hard level to 3, have no cards in your memory, pay 1, play this, release, which is cool, but it means that you're a turn behind where you probably want to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think cards like Umbracite do really make this, or do really become a consideration with this card. I like I forget the name of it, but the card from ALC Alter as well, I think is quite strong and really underexplored. It's like a 1-cost 3/3 that is also a curse that goes under into your Champions Lineage.
Yeah, I really like I think that we have a few of them now, their curse and allies.
Yeah.
I think that's really that cool design.
Yeah, Shade Curse Hunter as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's some exploratory stuff to do here. This is sort of the decompose of Diana cards, because we also got another Diana card, which I guess we can talk about now since we're on the Diana train, which I think is way more of a you put this in your Diana deck sort of card.
Yeah, this is first off our first Umbra bullet that is a material deck card, I believe. Mm-hmm. This is called Punishing Cartridge. It is Umbra.
She can punish me.
0 memory cost. Regalia item. Ranger bullet. Renewable. Class bonus. Tap to load Punishing Cartridge into an unloaded gun you control.
Mm-hmm.
On attack, discard up to 2 cards, then choose that many options. Option 1. Change the target of this attack to another unit.
Mm-hmm.
Option 2. Punishing Cartridge gains on champion hit. That opponent sacrifices an ally. Very cool, I think. This is a very cool space. I think this is exactly one of the weaknesses Diana has had over the last few years. She came out.
Yeah.
Where allies, you put a dude with taunt into play, you put a dude with intercept into play, and Diana can't really deal anything about it without playing poorly.
Yeah, it's sort of twofold. I think this does very similar to Throne Sentinel, covers a lot of the holes that Diana currently has, and most of those holes are into allies decks, where, like you said, she has a really hard time dealing with taunt. She usually has to buy like smoke bombs or blast pump shot, which are both not good cards, to get around taunters. This bullet does it by itself, but also she does really struggle into just allies decks proper, right? Like you're playing wind allies or something where they don't really have any taunters, and you're going to be able to shoot them, but they're just beating you to death with these big allies. And with Shadow's Twin, this on hit that player sacrifices an ally is crazy good. It turns Shadow's Twin into like a pseudo board wipe, takes 2 of their guys off the board, which I think is really good. So I think it's going to help her. These Turbo Umbra decks, it's going to help them fight into the Lord of the Ground aggro decks. It's going to help them get around pesky single taunts, stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a slam dunk. Every Diana player that's playing Shadow's Twin should play this card.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Why don't you take us off on this next one, Cam?
So we have our hot cleric mommy of choice for MRC Alter. Her name is Volda Smolder's Spite. Maybe that sounds somewhat evocative of a certain smoldering spire that you guys might remember. She's a 2-cost fire unique ally cleric guardian automaton. Level 2 plus fast activation class bonus on enter until end of turn. Damage dealt by fire element sources you control can't be prevented. She is a 1/3. This is Blanche's evil sister.
Yeah, it's sick.
She does opposite Blanche stuff, which I think is really, really funny. Yeah. It's like the same design space. She's a little bit of a bigger booty because she's a guardian as well.
Right.
But yeah, Blanche is here to protect your allies from spell damage. Volda is here to stuff your spell shield and kill you. I think this card is really, really good. It's great for that like slash and burn deck. It's great for these like big kindling flare decks. Thank God they put class bonus on this card, so you can't put it into your Merlin fucking fireball decks. But yeah, I think it's really cool. It also has some like applications in Guardian, I think, as well. If you are like Fire Tenoris and you're doing the big like Assemble the Ancients combo, this allows your Assemble to get through spell shields. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think this card's really good. It's not necessarily my personal flavor of card. I'm not much of a red burn deck player. That doesn't mean I won't be buying the CSRs. Because she's hot.
Yeah. Our last super rare is Hector Praetorian Guard. It's a 3-cost Neos unique ally guardian human. Has Imbue 3, class bonus on enter. If Hector is imbued, summon 2 automaton drones.
Pretty good.
Class bonus. If damage would be dealt to 1 or more non-token Neos Elemental units you control, prevent X of that damage, where X is the amount of tokens you control. Apply this replacement effect only once per turn. It is a 3/3.
It's fucking word soup on this card for sure.
It is definitely word soup.
I thank you to Mr. Playtester Poro in our chat. I had no idea what this card did. It was like very unclear to me. I was like, what does this exactly do? Where I now understand it works like a Hearthstone mechanic, which you guys don't play Hearthstone. But it is sort of like a one-use shield for X probably being a gigantic number. Right. I don't know.
This is it's a once per turn anti-board wipe.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know, how do you feel about this card, Steven? I'm not seeing it.
I really like this card a lot.
Okay.
As playing, like I have said, I've been playing Tony for a little bit now.
Yeah.
And I get blown out by things like Polaris because the shields and stuff, right? Like you can only protect them so many times. Your Atmo shields.
Yeah.
And this just says your board wipe doesn't matter once per turn. So now you need multiple board wipes. And if you're playing multiple board wipes, eventually I'm just gonna be able to outlast my stuff.
I see. I was missing context. I can't read chat.
It's one or more.
I for some reason in my brain I thought this was an on-enter. It makes way more sense. It's every turn.
But also I can't read. This says non-token Neos Elemental units.
Yeah, it doesn't save your tokens, but it's a one-time damage prevention for a billion. It's probably like 5 or 6 or something. Once per turn is way better. Okay. I was like, well, if you just like you play him and then they pop it, he's like a 3/3. It doesn't matter. I see. Okay. Yeah, that is way better than I thought it was. Yeah, it's just like really annoying, right? I think that's like sort of the Neos way. It's like you have this guy, you have your 2 Atmos shields in play, and you're like, your life is just miserable. Like how are you supposed to deal with any of this? It's like, I have to pop your shield first, but if I pop your shield, then you're going to prevent the damage with your Atmos shields. It's like,
when I first started playing the deck, I had a 2-hour one-game match with Luxem.
It was heinous. This is good against that for sure. Okay, all right. I've turned around. I've turned around on Hector. I for some reason thought it was just one time, not you apply it once per turn, but it is every turn.
It is every turn.
You get to apply it. Okay.
He's super cool too, and his CSR looks super cool.
Yeah. The CSRs all look gorgeous, and for the record, the CSRs for this set are not new champions. I don't know if you guys heard that. They're not new champions. By the way, they're not new champions. They are Volda, who we just saw, Hector, who we just saw, Bertha, who we talked a whole lot of shit about not getting a CSR. Because who wants Bertha? She's hot though. Holy dude!
I had
that Bertha art. I
had a foil Bertha.
Yeah,
I think I finally got rid of it, but I had a
foil. Sell it for that.
I had a foil Bertha. I was trying to give it to people. No one wanted it.
So Bertha's getting a CSR, and she's super cute. We love it. And then the fourth one's super strange, and I think that is worth talking about. The fourth one is Gloam Spire Mantle, which, by the way, that dress is far too small.
Yeah.
But this is the first time, right? Actually, the first time in a regular booster set, I guess in any booster set, that we're getting a CSR version of a Regalia.
Does that count Majestic Spirit?
Oh, I guess not.
Because that is a CSR
true.
and FTC.
But there's nothing else other than that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that is an ally. This is the first item.
We have as which is interesting for sure. I mean, we've seen this a bunch of times on the like prize cards. They've been doing that forever on, Nationals invites and stuff. But this is the first time that we're seeing it put actually into a booster set, which I think is really interesting and does unlock a lot of speculation and also makes it impossible for us to predict anything ever again.
Correct.
Because we're like, well, there's only X unique allies, and they blew us out, and they're like, well, what about these cards you just didn't think we were going to give the CSR treatment to? And yes, I know the Lineage Break podcast promised you a new Tony and Ari CSR. I appreciate it. You are responsible for delivering that.
Wait a minute. We're being bullied by the devs.
Yeah, that's not our fault. You could have supported your friends at the Lineage Break podcast and made us correct.
Yeah, you chose not
to. And it's not too late. You can announce them right now.
It was PTM.
Yeah.
PTM, yeah. Ari-san and Tony and PTM.
True. Yeah.
Those are the other two because
Right. Anyways, so those are our CSRs for MRC Alter, and it is looks pretty good. I think the set is pretty strong. It feels very similar, I think, to ALC Alter, where like none of these feel like really earth-shaking cards, and I think that is sort of the intent, where it uplifts some archetypes that were maybe a little bit weaker. I think Tony is actually the biggest winner. Out of this,
which is wild.
Looks great for him, and he needed it the most for sure. That's what we said when we were making our curse predictions anyways, is that if anybody needs the help, it is surely Tony, and then after that, it's, like Curse Diana. I don't think Curse Diana is probably going to get over the finish line with these couple of cards. I do think that Umbra Diana as a whole does get a lot better by punishing Cartridge, but yeah, I think uplifting archetypes that are not super meta relevant right now is a great way to do these sort of refresh sets in the middle of the season, and hopefully that means that some like Dark Horse Tony deck or something will make an appearance at Worlds.
The other thing that I found lacking here, it's probably like on design or whatever by choice.
Zari cards, yeah, no, I agree.
Oh, no, yeah. But I was really expecting to see a Icebound Slam replacement for Nico. Because since Icebound Slam got the Banhammer, Nico's representation has dropped. I know that over the last weekend there was representation of Nico decks.
Yeah.
But as a whole this season, she has not really been represented too much.
Yeah.
And I was expecting to see maybe like a Nico class bonus Icebound Slam.
Yeah,
or something similar.
I think it's sort of like everybody gets their time is what it feels like to me, right? Like I think it's like pretty distinct looking at the MRC Alter list that Nico support is missing, but like most notably, I think Tamer support, we're getting a replacement Baby Gray Slime, but it's like fine. And Tristan support is like null and void. We get the one Korhazi Outlook replacement card that is, like funny because it's Korhazi Outlook, but like not super impactful. And I think it's really like those decks got their time to shine. Like Nico was so dominant in the meta for a long time. Sylvie, Tristan were as well. And like if you're going to choose to uplift somebody, it should be somebody like Tony who never got that time, right? And it's probably just a space issue. Like I'm sure that they do want to support Nico and support Tristan and any of these decks that might need a little bit of a nudge.
Right.
But just, you can only print so many cards, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, super cool. We're very much looking forward to it, and we'll get that the week after U.S. Nationals, just 4 weeks from now. It's crazy. U.S. Nationals in 3 weeks. That is wild. One more thing that we want to talk about today, as we have so much news. God, I'm out of breath. Whew. So much news to talk about. We do have all of the Worlds announcements that we'd like to talk about next week. Maybe by next week they'll tell us about Casino Night. But today we wanted to talk about Supporter Pack 3, which we got a bit of a surprise from our lovely development team, and they have showed us the entire list of Supporter Pack 3 cards, which is crazy, as well as one particular very cool card that's going to be featured as a CPR and as a box topper that I did want to talk about because I think it's so cool.
Yeah. So, how do you want to go from the bottom up?
Well, we'll just we'll put the graphic on the screen. We don't have to read
Sure.
Through all of them, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and there are some like really notable standouts here. Of course, the first one, the big shock being Lorraine Ascendant Wings. Is that the name of said card?
Name of the said card.
When they put this graphic up, And we hadn't seen this yet, and we were like, oh my god, is Lorraine getting a new lineage or new champion? Is Mark going to jump off a cliff? And she sort of is. We're getting Lorraine Ascendant Wings, that is the world champion card for last year's world champion, our dear friend Glenn Williams. And they had asked him if he wanted, they made this level 4 for him. It's our second level 4 in the game. And they had asked him if he wanted it to be Lorraine or Merlin. He is based, I guess, and chose to be Lorraine and not Merlin level 4. But we got this really cool Lorraine sort of promo card. I didn't catch. Is this card legal?
Yes.
I think it is a legal card.
However, you can never activate this ability.
Yeah.
Because it costs 2,024
reserve. Yeah.
Reserve. And 2, you can only activate it if you're Ascendant, which means you have to have Apotheosis right to activate it.
However, I would like to note that if you're playing Lorraine, and we'll say you're playing Lorraine Spirit Ruler, who has an on-enter trigger and no other health or no other text, is that this card does have 32 health.
True.
And you can level up to get +4 health.
Correct.
And that is maybe real. I don't know if that's worth a material deck slot or worth 4 cards. But you could play this card for the 4 extra health. That's not absolutely outrageous, I think. Which I think is cool that, Glenny maybe gets to play his really sweet Lorraine. The art is gorgeous, and it does come in CPR as well, and it is signed by Glenn. It's super, super, super cute.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I love sort of honoring our competitive players and those that, achieve the highest goal possible, right? Which is, of course, winning the world championship. And so I hope they continue to do this, and I assume that they will, that this will be a new sort of tradition, that once you win the world championship, you get these Ascendant level 4 champions. And we've talked about this a couple of times on the show, how the lore behind these champions reaching the sort of pantheon of the Grand Archive is really interesting, and I think this is a terrific way to do it. I don't know if this has any lore implications. Maybe Belle, who's in chat, can tell us if this means that Lorraine herself, in lore, has ascended to godhood and is no longer walking our mortal realms. I don't know, or if this is just a cool card that we did for Glenn. That's a little bit unclear, but I do think it is really, really cool.
It would be a really cool way to do that, though.
Yeah. In lore,
Yeah.
Lorraine has ascended to godhood. Congratulations to her. And that means, obviously, we don't see Lorraine again, which is unfortunate, but cool to have that sort of culmination of their story. But Belle won't tell us anything. So.
Understood.
So, aside from that, Steve, what do you think the standouts are on this list of supporter back cards? We can talk about the CSRs as well.
There's a few things.
It's a really good list.
So I would like to point out
Gildus. First and foremost.
Did I miss that?
The Gildus CSR.
Oh, Gildus CSR. I thought you said Gildus. I was like, did I miss Gildus?
No.
What? No.
Busted.
I'm going to talk about the lower end stuff that excites me.
Sure.
Which is things like Heavy Swing.
True.
Full art,
actually huge.
Full art Heavy Swing is going to be sick.
Yeah.
Super interested in the Blade of Creation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Relentless Outburst will look really cool.
Yeah.
Tempest Downfall, Surging Bolt, things like that. Very cool.
Nothing else. There's no other cards that are exciting.
Am I missing?
No, nothing else that's on that list.
Oh my god. Yes, there is. I'm so excited for Trusty Steed. Please give me all of your supporter pack 3 Trusty Steeds so I can fill a Grand Archive binder.
Did they ask for your likeness?
Yeah,
for Trusty Steed.
If it's not just a picture of me, I riot.
Steve would happily, and worth noting about while we're talking about Supporter Pack 3, is that this was initially slated to debut at Anime Expo 2025. They have made the decision, thank God, we were hoping that they would, to release it at Worlds, which is the week prior. So this will be first available at the World Championship. And Steve personally wants nothing more than to sign every copy of SP3 Trusty Steed that you can find. Every single copy. If you bring him 100 copies of Trusty Steed, he wants nothing more than to sign it. So
I will be signing on Friday and Sunday only. I think the super rares are all solid hits.
Bangers for sure.
Astral Seal, Excalibur, Cleansing Light, Flame Sweep, and Stifling Trap, I think, are all going to be super cool reprints. Those are awesome. Stifling Trap a little weird because we just got another reprint of it.
Yeah.
But
I think Stifling Trap is the weirdest one for sure.
Right.
A lot of something that I think is like super important. It's very clear to me that the dev team obviously pays attention, and we know that. We don't have to tell you guys that they pay attention. But a lot of these cards are like extremely playable, probably too expensive, and so need a reprint. So that is exactly like you said. Like Heavy Swing is a great example of a card that was starter deck only, very hard to get. Stifling Trap, even so, did get a reprint, but also a starter deck card. Cards like Under Fire, that were for a very long time hard to find because
Blade of Creation is in that same.
Yeah. Library Witch, Sable Remnant, Turbocharge, like all of these cards that see a lot of play. I think this is probably the best list that we've gotten of the three of them as far as playable cards.
Yeah.
Excalibur even is like a $10 rare from DOA. Flame Sweep, same thing, right? So, yeah, I think it's really good.
I think the CRs of this though,
weird as fuck.
Yes, very
weird
odd.
as fuck for sure.
I think there is two I would have picked of the list of 5 here, which is Fracturize and Vertigo Decree. I think those are the two I would pick.
I am very happy that there is justice for Inzali. She deserves it. She's the only one that didn't get a CR treatment, and she was on the fucking box art of SP2. Justice for Inzali. But Geldis?
Geldis and Gloamspire Black Market.
At least Gloamspire is a good card. If you open a Geldis, dear Lord, God help you. You open a Geldis, you're like, this could have been a Fracturize, and it's $500. You're like, I opened Geldis, he's $40. Yeah, it's. I think Vertigo Decree is also a little bit strange that we're getting like a very special treatment for exactly Vertigo Decree, but not the other ones.
Right.
I do think it's a really good list, though, and I think SP3 will sell crazy numbers. I think the SRs are much stronger than they were last time. Not to say that like Fairy Whispers is not a good card and Cremation Ritual is not a good card, but I think like cards like Astral Seal is crazy. Like that is an SR alone, and so being in this SR slot is also like a very meaningful reprint because that card is pretty expensive, but also something that all the RE players, myself included, are going to be after. Again, Excalibur I think is crazy. Even this like Fracturize reprint is like pretty huge, as that's a very ubiquitous card across water decks, and if you know the like promo Frostborn Paladins, the old ones, not the creative promo, are any indication of what those water players are willing to do for their max rarity deck, I think this Fracturize is going to be pretty popular. Bell, the creative lead for Weaves of the Shore, asks us an interesting question that I think I would like to ask to you, Stephen. Is there anything on this list that you are sad is not included, that you would want included on SP3? I have a very obvious answer while you think about yours. Okay. And mine is Cosmic Bolt. Would be very nice. I was hoping that we'd get a full art Cosmic Bolt, but rest in peace. Astral Seal, I'll take it.
I think the only thing that is surprisingly missing here for me, obviously they're like, they're probably not going to announce these because they're just the box topper or whatever. But like the flower tokens,
right? Yeah, I'm curious when they will announce that. If that's just going to be a like we have to wait until the set comes out sort of deal, because they did say on the stream that there are box toppers because the Glen card, Lorraine Ascendant Wings, comes non-foil as a box topper.
Right.
But Silidar said not every box topper is Lorraine. There are other box toppers.
Right.
So there will be other ones. I'm really curious what they're going to be. I think flower tokens are a pretty easy slam dunk, but
other things I could think of is like the other sweeps. Title sweep and Hurricane Sweep.
Hurricane Sweep got one in SP1, I believe.
SP1, yeah. But Title Sweep, no love for Title Sweep.
No love for Title Sweep. Yeah, it's always interesting to see what gets this sort of treatment, because obviously you can only make so many cards, right? And so they do, I think for the most part, have chosen a pretty wide variety of very playable cards, with maybe a few exclusions that don't see a whole lot of play. But I don't think anything on this list has never seen competitive play other than Gildas.
Yeah, that's true.
and it's Ollie, I guess. But yeah, I think it's a really good list. Obviously, I'd like more Astra cards, but what are you gonna do, right?
True. Chat says, "What if box toppers are ambassador themed? If there's a token of me,
don't do that.
I would like royalties.
If there's a token of me, don't do that instead." Yeah. So I think that's all we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff, and that is not all the news that we have to talk about, but we wanted to split it up a little bit so that we're not in the great drought that is the pre-nationals, pre-worlds time. I do think it's pretty crazy that we had the anniversary stream now, right? And there was a lot that was announced. Like SP3 in its entirety is pretty huge. We got all the worlds announcements is pretty big, like new merch and all that. We'll talk about that next week. But Worlds is like 8 weeks away, Steve.
Yeah.
It's like really close.
Yeah.
And at Worlds, of course, right, is assumingly the biggest presentation of the year. And if this presentation was so big, 8 weeks from now, they have a assumingly bigger presentation for the World Championship. It's like pretty crazy. I assume we'll probably get like design notes at Worlds, but
design note 2. Or no, we
for
don't.
DTR, yeah, because DTR is like a month after Worlds, right? So like it'd be around that design notes time, but
maybe we get PTM's name.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know how far into the future we'll see, but that future is not now. That future is 8 weeks from now. But next week we will be talking about Worlds and all of the fun things that you can do at Worlds, and they've promised me that they'll announce what Casino Night is by next week. So we'll see that. That's not true. They didn't say that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. Sorry for always being wrong. We hope that you enjoy our banter and terrible predictions. Anyways, if you want to catch the show live, you can do so every week here at Friday at
2 p.m.
We actually record at Fridays, like the TGI Fridays. That's where we are right now. At noon Eastern Standard Time, *. We've been pretty good about that on time. If you want to catch the previous week's episode, you can find that Monday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are now caught up. *. So hopefully you will see this one on Monday. And without further ado, that's all we got for you. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, guys.
Woo!